Hello to all my dear students of DRS International School, and how are all of you? Well, today's video is dedicated to teaching you some simple yoga poses which you can do right in the comfort and the safety of your homes during this lockdown. And these are poses which can be done by beginners all the way to intermediate and then all the way finally to the advanced level. So, basic yoga poses which can be done at home anytime. You can do them alone, you can do them with your parents, your families. But before I start the video, I just want to thank all the soldiers who are still fighting for our safety and our security at the borders. And it is because of them and their unconditional sacrifices that we are able to conveniently stay at our homes, all cooped up, all safe and sound, and practice yoga as if it were just any normal day. And before I start, I just want to say a very big thank you to all the families of these soldiers and all the armed forces. Well, all of you do deserve better citizens, and we know that. But chalo, having said that, let's do some yoga today. And children, before I start, let me tell you that any form of a physical exercise is very important while we are locked up in our homes. And physical activity, physical exercise is something which can be accomplished right inside the home, and we don't need an excuse to step out and exercise कि अभी मैं घर से बाहर नहीं निकल पा रहा हूँ, I'm not able to step out of the house, so how can I exercise? All the gyms are shut down and I can't go to a public place like a public park, so how do I exercise? I can't even go out on the roads to jog or run. These are all excuses. There are multiple forms of exercises, multiple forms of fitness, exercises which you can accomplish right inside the char diwali of your room, your bedroom, your living room, wherever you can find a quiet corner, wherever you can find just a small amount of empty space, khali space where you can go and exercise. So it can be cardio, it can be dance, it can be Zumba, it can be dance fitness, it can be high intensity interval training, functional fitness, or it can be yoga. And speaking of yoga, today we have to practice some yoga poses which are not just going to help you in the long run, but which are also going to serve as preparatory poses, poses which are going to help condition and prepare your body for your final performance on the 21st of June 2020, which is just round the corner, another 2 days to go. And then all of us are going to collectively perform the common yoga protocol which has been designed by the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. So these poses are no doubt going to help you build a better fitness in the long run, but these poses also serve as a fundamental building block for the common yoga protocol which all of us are going to be practicing together. So take this practice as a learning for the long run, as well as a prep for the common yoga protocol which has to be performed on this coming Sunday. And before we start, we also need to understand, and it is my duty to tell you and your parents that it is always the best idea to start from the basics, from the beginning. You will find many influencers and many yoga gurus on YouTube and online who will directly claim to take you to stuff like pranayam and dhyan and meditation. But if your foundation is not strong, if your basics about yoga are not strong, then you are always going to be on that shaky ground. So, how can you eliminate that shaky ground from your life? By doing a reality check for yourself. And how can you do this reality check? By starting from ABCD, from the basics of yoga. So, for today's class, I have selectively handpicked two yoga poses which are simple, basic, can be done by the beginners, intermediates, and the advanced level students. But these are also some of the most important foundational poses in the build-up of the practice of yoga for you. So Tadasana and Vrikshasana. Tadasana and Vrikshasana are what we are going to practice today. I'm going to teach you the correct technique, and you will also require these two poses for your practice and performance on the 21st of June. Simple basic poses, but very, very essential. They play a fundamental and a pivotal role in building a strong base, a strong foundation for your yogic practice so that your body can become rightly conditioned, can become flexible, more balanced, and more strong, and can become better prepared for a more advanced practice of yoga. It can become better prepared and better equipped to learn the more challenging and the more advanced poses in yoga. So, without any further ado, let's get started with Tadasana and Vrikshasana today. Okay. Before we finally start, I'm a very big follower of Guruji BKS Iyengar ji, and of course, he had students all across the world and all across the globe, and there were times when students used to come up to him and share their health related problems with him कि गुरुजी मुझे डायबिटीज़ है, मुझे घुटनों में दर्द रहता है, पूरी बॉडी में दुख दर्द रहता है, I have pain here and there, and I have kidney issues or hypertension or high blood sugar, or I have some heart related issues. What can I do about them? And all these students used to ask for practical solutions from Guruji. And Guruji had a very standard one line answer for all of them. And he always used to say that if you can stand properly on your 2 feet, if you have the ability to balance the weight of your body on the 2 feet that you have, if you can balance your entire body weight equally in between the 2 feet that you have, then nothing can bother you. No ailment can make you suffer for long, and the ailment by itself will disappear if you can balance your body weight well between the 2 feet that have been gifted to you. So, if you, as students of yoga, are able to balance the weight of your body equally between the 4 points of the 2 feet, what are these 4 points? The two balls of your feet and the two heels. So, every foot has got a ball, which I'm going to show you once I start demonstrating these two poses to you, and every foot has naturally got a heel. So, 2 feet means two balls of the feet and two heels. If you are able to balance your body weight equally between these four areas of your 2 feet, two balls and two heels, and if you can stand properly in Tadasana, if you can root yourself firmly into Mother Earth through the pose of Tadasana. And how to stand properly in Tadasana, I'm going to demonstrate shortly. But before I do, very important to always remember to balance the weight of your body equally between the two balls and the two heels, and also to keep the toes of your feet nicely spread out. You should be able to distance the toes from each other. You should stand on your yoga mat or the hard ground in such a way that all the toes, even the tiniest toe on your foot, is nicely spaced out, is nicely spread out like the fingers of the hand. There are times when we tell you to spread out your fingers really nice and wide. The same thing should be done with your toes. Your toes should be spread out as wide as possible while you are standing in your Tadasana, and at the same time ensuring that the weight of your body is equally distributed between the 2 feet. If we can practice Tadasana with the right technique every day, then we will not suffer from physical ailments and physical pains and aches for long. And that was a promise which Guruji made to all his students, and I want to transfer that philosophy and that knowledge to all of you today. Having said that, now let's finally get started. Okay, students, so let's start our practice today with Tadasana, the most basic pose and also the fundamental pose for your prep for your performance on the 21st of June 2020, for which all of you are very excited. I already know. I'm also excited to catch up with all of you on that day. But we'll talk about that a little later. Time for some practice. Tadasana. Now you can see how I'm standing as I'm talking to you also. My body is nice and long and tall and strong. Let's start with my shoulders. My shoulders are pressed down. They are not going all the way up. So keeping your whole body relaxed, shoulders are relaxed and pressed down. Now let's talk about my neck. Nice and long neck. So if you don't hunch up like this and crunch your shoulders, obviously you're going to have a nice and visibly long neck. Now I want you to focus on my posture and my spine and see how I'm standing. I should see a nice and an erect spine. Spine is always erect. So if you are crouching and hunching over like this, it's wrong. Absolutely wrong. You want to squeeze in your shoulder blades, take them together, make the shoulder blades come closer to the spine, squeeze in your shoulder blades, tuck in your tummy, of course, and then stand absolutely nice and tall with an erect spine. Okay? Spine is erect, the whole body is relaxed, arms are down on either side of your body. And now let's take the camera to my feet. My feet are together, but there is a way to stand in Tadasana. Just like we sometimes tell you to spread out your fingers, we want you to spread out your toes. So if we bring the camera closer, I want you to see the shape of my toes. So we can get the camera close and close and close only on my toes. You can see how I'm spreading out my toes. Absolutely. You can see the white marble in between my toes. You can see how my toes are distanced out and the marble is visible in between every toe, in between two toes. So I want you kids to also stand like this. Now let's get the camera back up on my body. Now if you will look at my hips, the hips over here. So let's get the camera to my hips. We want the hips to be squeezed in completely, okay? Don't spread out your hips. Keep the hip muscles squeezed in. Keep your tummy tight. There must have been times when somebody is clicking a picture of your mom and your mom is like, wait, let me tuck in my tummy so that I'll look thin. But no matter how hard we tuck our tummy, we always end up looking fat. So squeeze in your belly, squeeze in all the abdominal muscles, keep your core tight and engaged, but at the same time also squeeze your glutes, squeeze your butt muscles, squeeze your hip muscles, keep them nice and tight, all squeezed in together. Also squeeze in your shoulder blades so that your chest is open, nice and wide and open. Keep your shoulders relaxed and down. Keep your arms on either side of the body and keep your feet together, and as I told you, keep the toes wide apart, separated from each other. This is your Tadasana. If you can see me now in full frontal position, Tadasana, and Tadasana in the side profile, absolutely tall and straight. I want you to stay in this pose for at least 10 seconds or up to 1 minute also. Start with 10 seconds and gradually build your way all the way up to 1 minute. Also, you should never hold your breath when you are standing in Tadasana. Focus on standing in Tadasana while you are normally breathing. A very good way to check your asana and to check whether you are doing it correctly or not is to stand the way I have taught you and just close your eyes. So if you can close your eyes and still balance your body, then yes, you are doing it right. But if you close your eyes and then you start getting all dizzy and giddy and you can't maintain your balance, then something is wrong. Either your shoulder blades are not squeezed in, or your core is not engaged, or your hips are not squeezed in, or you are not standing with your body weight equally distributed between the balls and the heels of your feet, or your toes are not widely spread out on the ground or the mat. So you want to make these corrections right away. Stand in Tadasana, close your eyes and check whether you can maintain your balance in this pose or not. And now the second pose, Vrikshasana. You have done it in the atrium with me and some of the senior students have done it in their classes, but let's practice it once again in case you have not been practicing yoga all these days. So you stand in Tadasana. See, for all the standing poses in yoga, the basis or the foundation is Tadasana. So if you have learned how to stand correctly in Tadasana, this is the basic starting point for Vrikshasana as well. Now, what is the first thing which you should do while starting Vrikshasana? So let us start with the right leg first. So your foundation now is going to be on your left leg, which is going to be straight and planted into the ground. You start by bending your right knee and just bring the right leg onto the ball of your foot or your toes. So let's bring the camera very close to my right foot again. As we can see that my right foot is now balancing my right leg on its ball. I am supporting my entire right leg only on the ball of my right foot. But this is not where I'm going to stay for long. Now let's take the camera slightly away so that my thigh is also visible. Now I am just going to open out my right thigh over here while keeping my right leg bent and keeping it supported on the ball of my right foot. So I am still on the ball of my right foot over there. As you can see, the foot is right there. But at the same time, I have opened out my right leg. Normally we stand like this, but now I am opening out my right leg by opening out my right hip. So this is the starting point. From here, once you have established this starting point, let's take the camera away and watch me fully. So Vrikshasana now, you're just going to take the entire leg and keep it against the inner left thigh and just stay there. Balance your body here. Step number 1. From here, you can join your palms together in front of your heart. From here, this is your step number 2. Go all the way up. Step number 3. Arms going all the way up. Step number 4. Pranamasana, high up in the air. So bring the hands down again. Keep them by the side of your body. 1. Step 2. Step 3 and step 4. Let me repeat it for you. 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's it. Bring the arms down. But always to remember, if you want to do Vrikshasana successfully, you have to keep your core engaged and always keep your gaze focused on an imaginary point in front of you. If you can take care of these two conditions for Vrikshasana, it is going to be successful. But obviously we have to do Vrikshasana on the other side as well. So always remember to practice Vrikshasana on both the right as well as the left side. In case you cannot maintain your balance, then I have a choice for you. You can just grab a wall. So I've got a wall over here and I'm still going to stand in Tadasana. You can keep this hand on the wall for some support. And then once again, before you take your foot all the way up and keep it against the inner left thigh, you want to bend your right leg and support your right leg on the right foot but on its ball. You want to support the entire right leg by bending it on the right ball of the foot. From there, you want to open out that thigh by opening out the right hip. From here, you will bend the right knee and then grab the right ankle, take it all the way up, place it against the inner left thigh and then maintain this pose over here. Maintain it here for some time till you are not able to maintain the balance. Take the support of the wall. Once you feel confident, once you feel that yes, now I am pretty balanced and you can go full on with Vrikshasana without taking the support of the wall anymore, then I want you to bring your hands down, keep them next to the body. So this is step number 1 as I already demonstrated, but I'll show it again. Step number 1. Step number 2, with the palms in front of your heart joined together into a beautiful Namaskar Mudra. Step number 3, arms going all the way up, but the palms are yet not joined together. Arms are parallel to each other. Step number 4, joining the palms together, forming a Namaskar Mudra high up in the air. Once again, step 1, 2, 3 and 4. Last time, step 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's it. Anytime you feel that you're about to fall or get disbalanced, the wall is right there. So take the support of the wall again, but children always remember the same principle applies for both Tadasana and Vrikshasana. Always keep your core nice and tight. Keep the core muscles engaged, your abdominal muscles engaged. Keep your glutes or the muscles of your hip squeezed in towards each other. Keep your two shoulder blades squeezed in towards the spine. Keep the shoulder blades squeezed in towards each other. Keep your chest nice and open. Keep your shoulders relaxed and down. And always stand with your toes nicely spread out, spread wide apart. If you can maintain the same conditions for these two standing poses, then rest assured you can perform them successfully. These are very important in the long run for maintaining your health, flexibility, strength, and balance. But at the same time, they are also very important for preparing for your performance on 21st of June 2020. They are very basic, essential, crucial poses which form the very foundation of your yoga practice, which is about to happen on Sunday, and Sunday is just round the corner. So all the best. I want you to practice these two poses at home right away. You can play this video again so that you can practice along with me, and then whenever you can find some free time, please keep practicing these poses. And tomorrow I am going to meet all of you again with a brand new video which will have some more new yoga poses which we must practice, because they are going to form the foundation of your performance on Sunday. Now, you kids might be wondering why Anukriti ma'am is making us do such simple poses like Tadasana and Vrikshasana. We have done them so many times at school. Why should we do them again, even if it is a part of a preparation for the International Day of Yoga, which is coming up on the 21st of June, which is a Sunday? But my dear students, you need to understand that often, often in life, we don't want to practice the simple poses, and then we are not able to do the challenging or the difficult poses. So, I want all of you to get a regular, solid practice of these simple poses first, so that you can attempt and challenge the difficult poses of yoga at a later stage. Now, that is about yoga. But there is a philosophy which is attached to yoga. The very basis of yoga is philosophy. There is a philosophy. And yoga comes from the Upanishads. And Upanishads are nothing but a way of life. What has got a tremendous acceptance today across the globe, across the world, is the physical yoga, or the physical form of yoga which you get to see on television, and so many people and yoga professionals performing all these fancy and tough yoga poses on Instagram, and then there is Facebook Live, a lot of stuff which is being posted online across different social media platforms these days. What you get to see is the physical side of yoga. And all of that, no doubt, is very beautiful to watch. It is fanciful. It looks wow. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the social media platforms are loaded with the physical yoga. But I want you to know today, and I also want you to remember for the rest of your life, that the very basis of this yoga is philosophy. And today, also as a part of a preparation for 21st of June, I want to share the very first and the most basic philosophy of yoga with you. This philosophy is related to food, it is related to yoga, it comes from the Upanishads, and it says, Annam nanindayat tadavratam. I will repeat, please listen to it carefully. Annam nanindayat tadavratam. Take a vow today. Tadavratam means take a vow. So, what is Annam Nanindayat? I'm sure your parents and your grandparents already know the meaning of this philosophy, because it is such a basic philosophy of yoga. In fact, I would say that it is one of those basic grassroots foundational philosophies of yoga, one of those basic philosophies upon which the empire of yoga has been built. So, Annam Nanindayat, never humiliate your food, never insult your food. You should always be grateful for your food. And why does yoga say that? That's because yoga firmly believes that food is basically the most grassroots level building block of your body. After all, if you think of it, even on a scientific level, it is your food which builds your cells, your tissues, your organs, your muscles, your bones. Every part of your body is derived from the food that you eat. Your food is the most basic building block of your entire body. Whether you look at your body from a cellular level or a macro level, the way I'm sitting right now, my body is made of millions and trillions of cells, and ultimately, each and every cell of mine is also constructed only with the food that I have eaten. And this same principle applies to you and your parents and your friends and relatives, etc. etc. So, yoga believes that food is the building block of your body. Your body is derived from the food that you eat. So, yoga is trying to say that you are nothing but your food. Your body is nothing else but the food that you have eaten. Yoga also believes that food is one of those primary contributors to the prana in the body. Now, you must have repeatedly heard the word prana from the elders around you, and of course, from me when I conduct your yoga classes at school. When I used to conduct the yoga classes at school real time, but these days everything is happening digital, online, obviously. But you must have heard this word prana from me n number of times, and prana is directly associated with pranayam. So, what is prana? Prana is something which stays inside your body. It is something which gives value and vitality to your body. It is nothing but the vital life force or life energy which drives your body, which drives you to accomplish your day to day tasks, which helps you move, locomote from one place to the other. It helps you think, it helps you feel. Basically, throughout an entire day, whatever you do, whatever task you accomplish, whatever you think, your thoughts, your emotions, it is nothing but prana or the vital life energy. And yoga firmly believes that food also contributes to the quality of this prana inside you. So, food is the building block of your body. Your body is nothing but the food that you have eaten throughout your life. Your physical form, is nothing but the food that you have ingested throughout your life, right from the time when you were born, right up to this day as you are listening to me while watching this video. So, food is the very basis of your physical body. Food also contributes to the quality of prana which resides in your body. So, food is a blessing. It is a blessing for all of us. It is a blessing in our lives, and we should never, ever even think about disrespecting or disregarding our food. Just like you can never think of disregarding your teachers, isn't it? So, food is just like that. It is as important as that. It is as important as the teachers or the gurus in your life, because if food is not there, if you can't eat food, then your body cannot survive, and if your physical form cannot survive, then you cannot imbibe, then you cannot absorb the learnings and the knowledge which your teachers are trying to share with you and pass on to you, isn't it? That is why yoga insists that you should never ever disrespect your food, never insult your food, always respect your food, be supremely grateful and thankful for the food on your plate. Food is a blessing. Also, my dear students, you need to know that Lord Brahma is realized through food. So, Nandindayat. Nandindayat only means that one should never insult their food, just as they won't ever think about insulting their own teacher. And Tadavratam is nothing but a vow which you should take today to never insult your food. This is basically a vow that is enjoined for him or her who understands and realizes the importance of Brahma. And the inculcation of this vow in your life today as you watch this video is meant solely for the respect, solely meant for the love and the understanding of the importance of food. So, the inculcation of this vow into your life today is meant for the praise and the respect for the food on your plate. If all of us can inculcate this vow into our lives today and take our yogic practice forward based on the true and the correct philosophies of yoga, then all of us can become master yogis in our lives. No doubt, we may not have the most flexible bodies and we may not have the best shaped bodies, but we can, all of us, aspire to become true yogis in our hearts and in our minds and also in our souls. All of us can become the true yogis in our lives if we incorporate and imbibe the philosophies of yoga into our life. Always remember that yoga is not just about the physical asana. Yoga is also not just about the pranayam. It is way beyond that. It is way, way beyond your asanas and your breathing exercises. Yoga always focuses on you as an individual, you as a complete package, as a personality. So, your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul, your values, your principles, your goals in life, your purpose in life, everything is looked upon by yoga. So, no wonder that it is very important for you to be physically fit and you to have great prana in your body. But at the same time, it is equally important for you to be a great individual in your life as well. And yoga aspires to help you. Yoga in itself aspires to help you to not just become a great physical yogi, to not just perform your breathing exercises with finesse. Yoga aspires for you to become a great individual, a good human being in your life. And I hope you remember that I always used to tell you also when we used to meet at school and we used to conduct these classes together. I always used to tell you that it is not supremely important for me to just help you build a more flexible or a toned body. But what is most important for me as a teacher, as your guru, is to help you shape your lives better, is to help you become good and genuine human beings in life. And that is the most basic philosophy of yoga because yoga focuses on just that. If you can truly learn and imbibe these yogic philosophies into your life as the Digital International Day of Yoga 2020 is approaching within 3 days from now, if you can incorporate these yogic philosophies in your life, then definitely what I can guarantee your parents is that you guys and girls, you boys and girls, will end up becoming good, genuine human beings. Human beings who can be of value to the society, human beings who can be an epitome of love, compassion, and kindness and understanding, and human beings who can genuinely, who can willingly reach out to help the other person if he or she needs it. So once you become good human beings, naturally, a good flexible body and a strong body and a more toned body will follow. Good pranayam, good breathing practices, everything will follow because when you become a good human being, you naturally become more serious about life. You naturally become more disciplined about whatever you want to accomplish in life. You also have a better precision of thought. You tend to have more focus. You are more concentrated on the task which is there in front of you. So, when you imbibe all these values and principles, when you imbibe all these qualities about yourself as a human being, you naturally will be more focused and disciplined about your yogic practice. And now, by yogic practice, I mean the asanas and the pranayams which I teach you. So, when you become more disciplined about your yogic practice, voila! Definitely, you will have a flexible body and you will become more strong and you will become more toned. But for all of that to happen, for all these changes to happen in your life, I just want you to start at a very, very simple level. And that level is all about the fundamental philosophies of yoga. And to start with, we have the very first philosophy which I have shared with all of you today. Annam nanindayat tadavratam. Take a vow with me today. Never ever to insult or humiliate your food. Always be thankful, always be grateful for the food on your table. Because food is what builds you. Food builds your body. Food also builds your brain. Food also feeds the quality of your prana. Never ever insult your food, my dear students. So just practice Tarasan for today and Vrikshasana, and we are going to catch up tomorrow once again, which is the 20th of June. And yes, that's just one day before the International Day of Yoga 2020. Tomorrow I will be back with a brand new video focusing on some more yoga poses which you need to practice as a part of your preparation for your final performance on 21st June, which is a Sunday. It's not a holiday, it's a very special day, and I am very, very, very excited to catch up with all of you on that day. I can't wait to meet you, your families, your parents, your relatives, everybody together. Let us practice yoga, let us practice pranayam, let us do a nice meditation together with our energies all put together. Let us just observe the power and the beauty of yoga on Sunday, which is the 21st of June 2020. So practice Tarasan and Vrikshasana for the time being, and I am going to catch up with all of you tomorrow with a brand new video focusing on some more new yoga poses. Till then, stay at home, please, stay safe and be good. God bless you, and I love you all.